Hi there. Thank you for joining a therapeutic recreation webinar hosted by the Therapeutic Recreation and Youth Services teams. This session is recorded by recreation therapist Shayla Lynn. Today we will be discussing inclusion support, what it is, how to access, and advocate. Today we will focus on inclusion support, how to get it, strategies for participation, inclusive programs and how to find them, and strategies to overcome barriers. First, let's look at inclusion support and what it is. Inclusion support strives to give equal opportunities to participate, thrive, and build meaningful connections in social, educational, and recreational settings. Inclusion support is typically provided by paid staff and is often and usually available at no extra cost. It is important to note that inclusion staff receive general training on program adaptations, behavior management, and basic personal care. However, they typically do not have professional qualifications in this field. An inclusion facilitator will work with your family to provide the most appropriate supports for the participant. This might be in the form of program adaptations, one-to-one support or a larger ratio of support, and any other means of assistance that would best suit your participant. For many of our local municipalities, it is required that you have an inclusion membership. This is a one-time application that indicates the needs and abilities of your participant. It's going to stay on your account for future, so you only have to apply one time. And this applies to Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, but at this time is not required in Guelph. Once you have this inclusion membership, you can apply for inclusion in any activity. Each municipality and program that offers inclusion support will have its own process for gaining access to this inclusion support. A handout will be provided on how to access inclusion supports within the municipalities of Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and Guelph following this presentation. Some programs with an inclusive philosophy will allow you to bring your own worker. You'll want to connect with the program about sending your own worker. They may have requirements that the worker may need, for example, a criminal record check or a certain age. This person doesn't have to be a professional. It can also be a neighbor or a family member. You'll want to start your search early to find your own support worker. And find a support worker that your child or participant is familiar and comfortable with, such as a special services at home worker, an educational assistant, a babysitter, or as mentioned before, a family member. If you are hiring someone who the participant has never met before, ensure you set up a meet and greet before the program starts. It's very important to share accurate information with both the program and the person who will be supporting the participant in the program. Every child is unique. Openly share information about the participant to help them be successful. Following this presentation, we will also provide access to an All About Me handout. This is a profile that you can fill out about the participant to provide to programs and support workers. It will let them know how to support, strategies to help set the person up for success. It will provide basic and relevant information about the participant, and of course include the participant's interests, what motivates them, what they're good at, and strategies for areas where they may struggle. Once you have registered for a program and determined the support needs required, some strategies for participation will be to encourage gradual involvement in new activities to build confidence. This might look like practicing in the backyard, introducing the child or youth to the equipment before actually attending a program. Don't be afraid to use adapted equipment or modify the program as needed. Incorporate any visual supports, social stories, or anything else that's going to help the child or youth enter a new activity. Provide consistent routines when possible, and talk about things that are changing or things that are new often. Some programs and activities are inclusive in nature, such as adapted sports teams and programs, like the Special Olympics, parasports, or disability-specific programming. Community-based art and music therapy programs, inclusive summer camps or after-school programs, which also includes disability-specific programs, and sensory-friendly movie nights or events. To find inclusive programming, you can navigate through KidsAbility's resources. I would highly encourage you to ask. So call programs that you might be interested, be honest about the participants' support needs, and see if they can accommodate them. You can also refer to recreation therapy at KidsAbility. We are here to support you. This is the KidsAbility website. We're going to look at how to find the resources on the website. So this is the homepage. If you click on Caregiver and Client Supports, Parent Resources, this brings you to Thrive Together Tools. So these are all of our universal resources. If you go to categories, you will find different resources on behavior, fine motor skills, speech. For today's purposes, we're going to look specifically at camps and community recreation. You can also use the toolbar by searching by keyword. So for example, if I type in social story and hit search, many social stories will come up about riding the school bus, for example, or asking someone to play. So we're going to search by category. Let's start with community recreation, and I will hit search. So here you'll find a document on how to access inclusion support and community programs. We also have a community recreation directory. This is a comprehensive list of all the programs in Waterloo, Kitchener, Guelph, Cambridge that we know of, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide. You can also search for camps. So here you'll find a tool that helps communicate with camp partners, some camp fair videos from last year, funding options, how to plan for camp, and each camp presentation comes with a handout. More is to come on here, including these webinars will be posted in Thrive Together Tools. This is how to read our community recreation directory. At the top, you'll see the program title as well as the location. And then listed are the ages that the program is appropriate for, as well as the contact information. If you are interested in a program, I would encourage you to reach out to the program, explain your child or the participant and their needs, and see if this might be a good fit for your family. You can also advocate to try the program before committing to it. You'll see a program description and then support options. So we have listed this in a tick box. If it is checked off, that means that the program offers these things. So the first one is a lower participant to staff ratio, which means typically there is 2 to 3 participants per staff or volunteer. The program is designed for participants with disabilities may be an option. And if the program isn't designed for participants with disabilities, you may see checked off that the program has an inclusive philosophy. This means that all are welcome and that the program will allow participants to provide their own support worker. When it says support worker, it can be a professional, but it can also be a family member or other support person. The program will often just require that you have a vulnerable sector screening before becoming a support worker in their program. Another option may be that the program provides one-to-one support, and if it does, that will also be an option on the support tick box. This brings us to discussing potential barriers to leisure and recreation. Something that we consistently hear of is lack of resources. So financial, transportation, ability to access or register, as well as time. Ability might be a barrier, so lack of adapted programs or sports in the community, potential lack of inclusion support. The participant may have low self-esteem, shyness, lack of confidence, or they may have fear of being rejected or ostracized. Information may be a barrier, so if we're finding limited information regarding available activities or limited opportunities. Lack of interest may also be a barrier to participation. How are we going to overcome these barriers? We can set goals and reward the person when those goals are achieved. We want to ensure that the child or youth is interested in the specific activity. For example, if the child does not want to swim and does not like water, we cannot expect that they will have success joining a swim program. We can observe or attend a try-it session. So again, I would encourage you to reach out to programs where your interests lie and ask if you can try a program or observe a program before registering. You can access funding supports and advocate. This is so important. Advocate that your child or youth deserves to be there. Advocate that they deserve support, and always contact us if we can support in this area. Thank you so much for attending this session. Please direct any questions to rectherapy@kidsability.ca.